can't explain this to the blind. May you wake up from inside, see the truth through the third eye. Let your heart be your guide, light up the way. Let your heart be your guide. Free from your pain, it ain't a mistake, cause you choose your fate. Giving energy. Nice. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Misha with Feels with Meesh. Today I want to talk to you guys about our bodies and how sacred our bodies are and how amazing our bodies are and how we should be saving our bodies. When you awaken and your third eye is wide, you see through the illusions and you see the agendas that are playing out in the world that are keeping people really in lower timelines of themselves and lower consciousness. And you know, as I've gone on my healing journey and I really truly see myself in a different light and I value myself, I could never just give my body away to anybody. My body is a temple. My body is sacred. Sex is sacred. It's something that is so divine. As humans, we are closest to source. We are closest to God when we orgasm. That is the closest that we get to God. That feeling of euphoria, right? And we have been taught that it is something that can be just shared with anybody, right? And it takes away its connection to the divine when it's something that is just so easily attainable through sharing your body with anybody, giving your life force energy away, and you know, all the toys and things that have been created for us to just orgasm. And you know, I understand like what it's like to have those urges and feelings and feel the need to, you know, masturbate, but it doesn't feel always good. You know, it doesn't always feel good to have that release. You see, that release is our life force energy, right? It's our life force energy. You ever notice after you release, sometimes you're tired or you're kind of like, you don't get as much done that you had planned? It's because that is your life force energy. And so to be able to harness that energy and really just transmute and focus that energy into a different area is very powerful. It's very powerful to do that, and especially for men. You know, men, when they finish, they tend to be tired, right? And you know, it's your life force energy you're giving away. And if it's not shared with somebody in a sacred moment, then was it worth it? Was it really worth it? And, you know, sex is such a sacred thing. We are programmed to believe that it is not a sacred thing. Brainwashed to believe that sex is, again, just something regular. Our earliest years, in our teen years, we have these teenage movies, American Pie, what is it, you know, the high school movies where, you know, we're basically being taught that sex is not something sacred, not something to be shared with somebody. Our bodies are not sacred then. We're not valuable. We shouldn't, you know, see ourselves as something valuable. The television shows, I had never really seen Sex and the City. I was actually really mortified by the show. You know, I'd seen episodes here and there in the past, but I never really had a chance to sit and watch it. And so when I watched the show, you know, these women, they are empowered and they are giving their bodies away to just anybody as kind of a recreational activity. And every episode, they're sleeping with somebody new. Every episode, they're dating somebody new. And the music and the fashion and the lights and the makeup and everything, it just glorifies them. It empowers them as women who can go out into the world and give their bodies away, and not feel any type of way about that at all, but to feel empowered. It's never really a foundation. It's because it's not grounded in your value of yourself. Because when you value yourself, you then attract people that also value themselves. When you're seeking and feeling, the need for attention, you're attracting people that also really don't value themselves. And so that exchange of energy between you and somebody else, it's not going to fill you. It's not going to fill you. You see, when we sleep with people, there's an energy exchange there. And you take on all of that person's traumas too. Like, their energy is then given to you as yours given to them. For women, it is much harder. Like, we grow an attachment. The minute that somebody is inside our body, there's like an immediate attachment there. As much as we want to think that there isn't, because that person is inside of us. This is something that people never even think about. And they're not even selective. Like, you're going out and you're giving yourself to somebody and you haven't even gotten a chance to know them. You don't know them at all. And these are things that, again, are taught to us through television and music and such. We are not taught that our bodies are sacred. We are not taught that sex is sacred. We are not taught that sex is a beautiful thing from God. We were not taught that. We're taught that it is something recreational and that it's not a big deal, when it is a huge deal. The music industry teaches men to hate women and women to be overly sexualized and overly sexual. We see that as empowering in some way, but it's not empowering. There's this disconnect between the man and woman when you pin them against each other. See, sex today is very one-sided. Women really don't ever reach that level of orgasm because men don't really take the time to get to know a woman's body. And a woman's orgasm is mental. It's not, it is very much connected to the mental. And so it takes time for a woman to really orgasm. It takes some work, it takes effort, it takes her being comfortable, it takes her really being able to let loose in those moments. And recreational sex doesn't allow for that. Not to mention how many people are addicted to porn. Many people. And it's not a good thing. It's not a healthy thing to have in our life. All these young boys and young girls that are being exposed to that and confusing them. And if you guys follow my podcast, Feels with Meesh, I do speak about this on my podcast, Sacred Sexuality. You can go check that out at feelswithmeesh.com. My podcast is on there, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Sacred Sexuality. And I speak about how I was exposed to porn at a very young age and how it confused me, right? Because the body feels the sensation. And even in my 8-year-old body, I was feeling the sensation. It's confusing as a child to experience that. Created me to feel hypersexual, or to be in that, wanting to be pursued, right? It's the biology of our bodies here. So porn is not good. It's not. And I mean, I used to watch porn and I would feel dirty after watching it. And so I don't expose myself to it anymore. You know, for some people that will be a little bit more difficult to wean yourself off of, but when you do, you feel so much better about yourself. You know that you're not feeding into an industry that is really harming a lot of people. And I think that is one thing that we have to really understand. It's like, where is our energy going, and what does that affect? How is that affecting other people? And yet we're finding pleasure in it, right? It's like the drug dealer, he's making tons of money and maybe he's feeding his family, but he's killing people at the same time, right? So what are we choosing in our life? Like, everything has a cause and effect. And if we can really see from the expansion of our mind and really see further down the line of how things are really harming people, would we then involve ourselves in them in the first place? Another thing is that people are having sex and then having children out of wedlock, or out of like creating a healthy foundation for a child to be brought into the world. And that's most of humanity, right? And this is why recreational sex is not a good thing. Because people don't sit and think before they're giving their body to somebody. And thinking, oh, is that somebody that I could raise a family with? Is that somebody that I would love to raise children with? They don't have those conversations with themselves because their need for instant gratification takes over the thought process that comes with really seeing your future before you're giving your body to somebody. So children then are being born without the foundation that they deserve from two people coming together and sharing their bodies and having a foundation together. And this is most of humanity. And so really understanding, like, when you value yourself and you really value somebody else and you come together in that space, there's so much more that comes from that can grow and evolve from that than just giving your body to somebody that you don't even know and then, you know, having children and bringing children into the world from there. It's such a deep conversation. It has so many branches to it, so many facets to it, that I can't even put it into one video. You know, the agendas, the music, the television shows, the Instagram, porn, how it's exposed to us and everything, hypersexualizing us, constantly, you know, feeding us that hypersexual energy in every area, then leading women to OnlyFans, Instagram, objectifying their bodies, not loving ourselves. That's where it comes from. But then they plant these seeds in our brain that make us hypersexual, or feel like that's how we can get attention, is through that hypersexual energy. And it doesn't feel good to receive that type of attention. And I know this because this is what I've lived through myself. I've been in those shoes. And I always wondered why I didn't ever feel like respected by men. I always kind of felt like they just saw me sexually, right? They just kind of had that like hypersexual energy towards me. It's because I wasn't putting out the energy of that I valued myself, right? When we value and love ourselves, there's a different type of energy that we omit. And then people have to then meet us where we are at. They have to then respect us. They have to then value us, show us that they value us, because we simply will not meet them at the level that they are at. Brain our brains are so fragile and how we are programmed to believe things, right? So these are then things that we see, and we retain that information, and it becomes our reality, becomes something that we're seeking. We want to be cool. We want to fit in like everybody else. And think about that as a child growing up in the world where you really don't know yourself. You really were never taught to love yourself, right? You didn't know your value. Your parents didn't know their value, so how could you know your value? We actually have to teach ourselves our value if our parents are not there to raise us in that knowing of ourselves, right? And it has to be something that is an example from them. And most of humanity doesn't know their value. And so these agendas are so easily placed. They're so easily keeping people down, keeping them low, not realizing their full potential, right? To share your body with one person. You know, your energy frequency is so much higher when you're living in that space. That's why marriage is so sacred as well. And to be with one person under the guise of God, right? My message is about celibacy, saving your body, treating your body like it is sacred, and sharing your body with somebody, one person. Really being present with that person, getting to know that person's body as they get to know your body, and growing that part of a relationship with somebody where you and them can really, share each other under the divine, really just experiencing those moments with one person. So in this year, I have been saving my body. I am saving my body for the right person. And I want to share those intimate moments with one person. I want to give my body to one person. I want to grow and expand and discover new things about my body with one person. And that I want to create a journey with that one person. I don't want to share my energy with just anyone, because my energy is sacred. I value myself. I value my energy. And it is my choice. It is a choice for us to make who we share our body with. This is like such a sacred thing. This takes work. Somebody has to work to receive me, and that is how I feel about myself now. That if somebody's showing red flags or not making me feel good or comfortable or loved or appreciated, then I won't give my body to them. They don't deserve my body. They don't value me, so why would they value my body? And then why do they deserve my body? What women don't realize too is that it's really our choice. It's not the man's choice. Sure, the man can pursue us, but it's our choice who we let inside of our body. And women forget this. They want to be chosen. Oh, I want him to choose me. I want him to choose me so bad. And so the minute that he gets excited and is pursuing you, you so easily give it away before even really letting him work for it, really letting him prove himself to you, really letting him show you that he values you at all. So I hope that this message helps you shift your perspective and helps you realize that you have not been loving yourself the way that you deserve to love yourself, not been valuing yourself the way that you deserve to value yourself. I hope that this message makes you take a look at your life and want to make a change. And it's not going to be easy. It's not easy for a lot of people to just go celibate and not have sex, because you're so used to that, right? So used to giving your body away, or having sex with partners that you're not in relationships with, or you haven't had a higher level of commitment with somebody. These are things that you deserve if you are going to be giving your body away. You deserve a higher level of commitment. You deserve somebody to claim you. You deserve somebody to value you enough that they want to grow with you in order for them to even have your body in the first place. Your energy gets very pure and clean and bright, and your aura, it's expansive when you save yourself, when you hold your life force energy to yourself and you don't just give it out to anybody. I love you guys. I hope you have an amazing, beautiful, positive day because you deserve it.